Hello and welcome to BISP Solutions. My name is Ankita. Today we will continue with the Calculation Manager business rule. And today we are going to learn three new topics. First one is the use of XREF function. Second is the operating expense adjustment, and third one is the inflation calculation. So let us have a quick introduction about the XREF function. So at the rate XREF calculation functions enable a calculation to incorporate values from another S-base cube. The following terminology is used to describe at the rate XREF function. So first is the data target, that is the cube on which the current calculation is running. That is the cube on which the XREF call originates. Then we have the data source, the cube that is queried by at the rate XREF function. This cube may be remote, that is on a different machine that the data target. Then we have the point of view, the member combination currently being calculated on the data target, that is the member combination that identifies the left hand side of the calculation. Then the at the rate XREF function retrieves values from a data source to be used in a calculation on a data target. It does not impose members and dimension mapping restrictions, which means that the data source and data target outline can be different. So the syntax we have with us while calculating, while using at the rate XREF function is for to incorporate values from a remote cube. We use at the rate XREF function, then the location of the alias and the member list. And then to incorporate values from another application and cube on the same S-base instance, we use at the rate XREF function, then we mention the application name, then we mention the database name, then we use the member list. Okay, so now in this rule we can see that we have used the at the rate XREF function, and the first we have the name of the application, that is vision. Then we have the database name, that is the cube, we call it in cloud plan 2. Okay, then we have directly mentioned the source data. Okay, so this is the POV that we have given. So now what will happen is we will get the result in 5110 from the cube plan 1. Okay, I'll show you what we basically are doing over here. So here we have the data with us. The data is already being inputted into the plan 2. Okay, so we have data in labor expenses, raw material expenses, as I have already shown you in the PPT. So here we have the labor expenses, raw material expenses. So I want the labor expenses to be data to be transferred to 5110 cost of sales, and I want the raw material expenses data to be copied to other cost of sales. Okay, so with the help of XREF function, we will perform this task. So now we will move to the instance first. In the instance here, I'm going to click on the navigator, then I will click on rules, then I will expand the EPM cloud, then vision, and lastly I'm going to expand the plan 1. I will right click on the rule and will write a new rule for at the rate XREF function. Okay, so here I'm going to use test XREF function. Okay, after that I will click on OK. We are going to use the edit script mode to write the business rule here. So here we have by default fixed base data. Here I'm going to use a nested fix function to fix our other dimensions. So here we are going to fix first the version dimension. So here we have used working member from version dimension. Then we are going to use plan from scenario. Period is going to be Jan. And year is going to be FY24. I will put first and fix to avoid any error and confusion. Then here we are going to directly mention the name of the members. So first I will go to the dimension. So here first of all I am going to give the name of the member in which I want the data to be copied. So here we are going to make use of plan 1. I want the data from plan 2 of vision application to be copied to plan 1. Okay, so for that I'm first going to expand all accounts, then net income. Here we have the member name 5110, which have the alias as cost of sale. So I'm going to write the alias name itself over here. So I want the data to be copied in 5110 from labor expenses. Okay, so now here I'm going to use @XREF function. Here we are going to open the parenthesis, as I have shown you previously in the syntax that we are first going to give the application name. Okay, so here the application name is vision. Then we are going to give the database name. Here it is going to be plan 2. Then we are going to give the head name from which I want the data to be copied. So here I will go to cube, then I will click on plan 2 and will directly copy the name of the account members. So here we have labor expenses with us. So we have copied labor expenses. Now here I am mentioning 110 as the entity. So the entity here, I will expand it and directly copy the name of the entity, facility resources. Okay, similarly again I'm going to the plan 1 and I will select the account dimension here. Then I will search for the member directly from here, that is 5300 other cost of sales. Okay, so I will click on it, copy it from here and directly mention it in the target. And I want to use the XREF function. I will mention here vision as the application, then plan 2 is going to be our database. Then I'm going to copy the account name over here. So the account here is raw material expense. Okay, so all these expenses are direct expenses, so I'm copying the direct expenses data of plan 2 to the plan 1. I will now copy the name of the, okay, so here we have the entity as well. Now I'm going to first validate the data sheet. So there is an error in the rule. Let us see. Oh yeah, I haven't put the semicolon over here. As it is a formula part, we have to put the semicolon. Now the rule is being validated. I'm going to deploy it. And lastly, I'm going to launch my business rule. Okay, after launching it, here we have the data. Okay, now I'm going to target sheet here, which is connected to plan 1. Now I will refresh it. Okay, so now we got the data which were already visible to us in the plan 2 data sheet. Okay, so here for labor expenses it is 25,000, which has been transferred to cost of sales. Then we have the material raw material expenses valued 32,000, which has been copied to other cost of sales. Okay, so this is how at the rate XREF function works. Okay, so now we are going to the other rule, that is operating expense adjustment. So basically we use operating expense adjustment. So first let me take you to the requirement. Okay, so here we have the planning for FY24 already with us. So here we have made the adjustment into the planning, as because of inflation we always need to make the adjustment. So here we have made the adjustment in the employee expenses because of changes in the SOPs the of the organization. Okay, so here we have the adjustment figure with us. Now this this is this with the data will be copied directly to the revised plan. Okay, so what exactly is happening here is our plan has been adjusted. So we have a different scenario for making adjustment. It's not possible to make all the adjustment directly into the plan. Okay, so for that we have adjust plan scenario as well. So whatever changes we made in adjust plan will all be visible to us in the revised plan. This is what the exact thing we are doing over here. There is some issue. Operating expense adjustment. So we are making adjustment for the first quarter. Okay, so we already have a plan with us. Then because of the changes in the SOPs, we need to make the changes and adjustment into the plan, so that we have been doing into the adjust plan. So now what we will, the adjusted figure will all be visible to us in the revised plan. Fine. Now we are going to write the rule for the scenario over here into the calculation manager. Okay. So here we will first go to the system view, then right click on the rule, and here I'm going to write a new rule for test operating adjustment expense. So here we already we are going to write the rule in the editor script mode. So we have already here fixed database with us. Here I'm going to use the nested fix function to fix our scenario. So I'm going to use a variable, that is uh, where is that variable version. Okay, so here we have the value as working and what if. Okay, so the value for these for the value for this runtime prompt variable is what if and working scenario. Okay, now I'm going to fix here the plan scenario, then I'm going to fix the no, so here first, okay, just a minute, I've made an error. Yeah, so here we are going to use first the I descendants function, and we will fix the operating expenses here. So for that I will first go to the instance and then click on plan one, and from here I'm going to select the OPEX. Okay, so here we are going to fix the operating expenses, as we are making changes into it. So here we have selected operating expense id send by using id send in functions. Then we are going to fix the period here as @ descendants of Q1. Then we are going to fix the product here as @relative P_TP1 and the zero level member. Okay. Now here I'm going to fix the version. So here I'm going to select the version as VAR version. Okay. After that, I'll fix here directly the entity. So here I will go to the entity and then to the total entity. So here I am fixing 410 international sale. Okay. This is to be mentioned in the double quote. Okay. Then and fix. Now I'm going to write here the formula. Okay. So what we are doing here is our target is the revised plan. Okay. So now I'm going to copy it from the instance itself. So I will go to scenario and here I will copy revised plan. So revised plan will be equal to the plan plus adjusted plan. Okay. Now after end fix, we're going to fix here the revised plan adjusted plan, and then comes the version over here, which is VAR version. Then finally we are going to fix here the entity. So I will directly copy the name. Okay, now here I'm going to use @id send function operating expenses. Okay. @id descendants operating expenses. As we are making the calculation in operating expenses over here in this case. Okay, so now I will validate the business rule first. Now my rule has been validated without any errors. Now I'm going to deploy it, and then I'm going to launch the rule. So here we have the operating expenses. We are going to the calc manager. Okay, so we already in the calculation sheet we already have our plan data with us and the adjusted plan data. So what we get here is the revised plan. Okay, so let me refresh the sheet. So the revised plan is basically the sum total of the plan and adjusted plan. Okay, as we can see here that we have 6,000 as the value for the car allowances here. Okay, so previously for plan we were holding 5,000 value, then for adjusted plan we have been adjusting the plan by 1,000, and the final value we get in the revised plan for car allowances is 6,000, which is a sum total of plan and adjusted plan. Okay, now we will go to the variance. Here we find that there is no variance, hence our data is validated. Okay, now I will explain you the other rule, that is the inflation. Okay, so how we'll be calculating the inflation. So first let me open the sheet here. Okay, so here in this sheet we can see that we have the data for FY23. So the actual data is available to us from January to the till June month. Okay, then we will be holding the plan data in it. Okay, so the plan data we will be holding from January to December. Okay, so now here we are getting the forecast data. So the forecast is being inflated, okay, by 10%. As we can see that because of inflation, there is always a change in the expenditures and income in of an individual. So it also impacts in the similar manner, it impacts the organization as well. So here the expenditure, office expenses of an organization is affected because of the inflation. Okay, so even though plan was previously made, but it is to be changed in the forecast. Okay, so what exactly we are doing here is we already have the actual figure of advertisement expenses with us. Because of 10% inflation, it is being increased to 27,500. So I'll show you how it is working. So this advertisement expenses will be increased by 10%. Okay, so here we can see that the expenditure is increased by 27,000. Similarly, in the case of the planning as well, the forecast is affected because of the inflation, and currently the inflation rate in the market is 10%. So because of that, here there is a difference in the figure as well. So the planning is also being changed for the so the forecasting is being changed as well because of the inflation. So here we have the figure as 32,000, which will be then multiplied with 10% as well. Okay, so here we find that there is an inflation, and because of that our expenditure for advertisement has been increased by 3,200, and the value has become 35,200. Okay, so now we are going to write a rule for the same. So here I will go to the system view in calculation manager, and I will right click on the rule. So here it is going to be the test inflation calc. So we are going to write the rule in the edit script mode. So here we will be using nested fix function to fix the members of other dimensions. So here we are making use of the variables as VAR variance VAR version for so remember so the default value for version is working and water. So after that, I'm going to mention here the product as no product. Then here I'm going to fix the entity. So for that, I'll go to the entity here. I will copy the name of the entity directly. So it is going to be @ descendant of the entity name. Okay. Now we are going to mention here the year. So again, we are going to use the nested fix function, and we are going to fix here the period. So first our period is going to be Jan to June, as we only have actual data for Jan to June. Okay. So here I am going to use and fix, and then in between I'm going to write the formula. So it is going to be data copy from actual to forecast. Then we are going to fix another period, that is from July to December. So here it is going to be end fix, and the data copy command is to be used over here for copying the data from plan to forecast. Then we are going to use here forecast, and this will be forecast will be multiplied with the inflation rate. So here we have already created a variable named variance, okay, VAR inflation rate. So here we have already given the default value as 10%, and the type is going to be percent. Okay, so now I'm click on okay, and then before that I'm going to mention here one, as here I want the inflated value. Okay, so this is the formula that we have given for inflation. Okay, after that I am going to validate the rule, then I'm going to deploy it, and finally I'm going to launch this rule. Okay, so here we have the variable as 10%, that is inflation rate. Okay, now we will go to the calculation. Here I will refresh the sheet. So it is being changed to 0. Let me first copy the data from the requirement for plan scenario and actual. Okay, now again I'm going to launch the rule. So we can launch the rule from the smart view sheet as well. So here I'm just going to select the rule. Okay, so here it was named as test inflation calc. I will launch this rule now, and then refresh the sheet. Okay, so we got the value over here. So in the variance, we can see that there is no deviations between the requirement and the calculations, hence our data is validated. So that's all for today. For any more queries, please feel free to ask. Thank you.